Unlocking Marital Bliss.
Yellow, yellow, yellow. This is Cyrus Rod, and I'm so glad to have you on Unlocking Marital Bliss. I am so glad. I am so happy. This is going to be so beautiful tonight. And I am very, very excited because I have a very wonderful guest. It's going to be fire in the house tonight. So, yo, just get prepared. I'm always glad that you can tune in. I'm always glad about your feedback. We get your feedback. It's always amazing. It's always great. And I'm always excited to flow with it. Thank you all from wherever you are watching. Okay? We do appreciate you. And as usual, the way we make it over here, the marriage is easy, ignorance is hard. We're here to teach you, we're here to help you make sure that you succeed in your marriage. And tonight, I am so excited and privileged to have a wonderful guest. It's my first time hosting this person, an amazing woman of God, a great mentor, great man. She's doing good in whatever she's doing, okay? So she will be able to talk to us. We'll have a discussion. And tonight, to assure you, it's going to be sensitive. I don't want you to take offense, but we want to make it so clear that a bad marriage is a choice. Okay, I just said it. Okay, let me put it right. A bad marriage is a choice. Please don't get mad at me. Don't throw your stones at me. Just listen and learn, because I know this person is going to help us go through it so well, and you will have nothing to regret. So without further ado, I would like you together with me, welcome Hilda Bahati Sabiti. Let me hope I've done the right.
Oh, yes. Oh.
Okay, that's the proper order.
it's, it's Bahati Hilda Sabiti. But that
Bahati.
kicks in when it comes to the brand, obviously.
Okay.
Yeah, but I just love to keep it Hilda Sabiti.
Okay, that is so good. So you're Hilda Sabiti, and so glad to have you here.
Oh, it's an honor.
It's my first time to host you.
Such an honor.
You're doing such a great work out there, and my audience may not know exactly. Some may. Many have seen you, some are seeing you for the first time. And I would like to give you some simple questions that will help us and the audience get to know exactly who Bahati Sabiti is.
I'm ready.
Okay. Now, Bahati, you are with me on set on Unlocking Marital Bliss over here. It's freedom. We really feel at home, and I want you to feel at home.
Oh, thank you. I already feel at home.
Thank you so much. And a woman like you, I would like to ask, is Bahati your father's name, Sabiti your father's name? Are you married?
I am married. I'm married to Mr. Sabiti. Mr. Sabiti, yes, Mr. Timothy Sabiti, and he's been a youthful friend for the past 24 years.
Hey, go ahead. Past 24 years.
24 years. We've been friends, we've walked this journey, and it's been amazing to just have a friend by my side.
Wow, 24 years.
24 years.
That's a long
knowing
time.
each other, being friends, yes.
Being friends.
Yes.
24 years. And then now how long have you been married?
Married to him for the past 7 years.
7 years. And you've been friends for 24 years.
24 years. It's been a journey, a process. I know one day we'll get into it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I'll have you back to tell us exactly how you've been able to go through the 24 years.
But still, even as we talk about marriage being a bad marriage being a choice, I think the snippets of it will come, because it's very intriguing and very transformative, even to me that went through it.
Okay,
the 24 years. It's amazing.
24 years. That's a number. That's a number. 24 years and 17 years of friendship, and then 7 years. These days, people just do about months of friendship.
I know. I sometimes I'm surprised. I'm like, but I think maybe I'm not of this generation. Maybe. I think I'm from the old generation. So I think that explains why.
Yeah.
But back then we used not to believe in that quick fixes.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah,
That's
but
very
there's a lot
true.
of quick fixes, and
And
people
we
are
get the same results.
we get the same results, and some of them are like, yeah, but it can happen and it lasts, and who am I to say no, it can't. It's also a choice to make it work.
Yeah.
But sometimes the foundation is so crucial.
Foundation is very crucial. I really believe if you're going to build anything that will last, foundation really matters. And now you are married for 7 years. You have any kids?
Yes, we have 3 children. We have Ariel Sabiti, and Asahel Sabiti.
Now, where do you get all these names from? Ariella, Arhel?
I usually have very problematic pregnancies.
Oh.
Yeah, and so they came out of prayer. Whenever I used to pray for a child's name, I will come up with the name, and I'm like, you know what? She's a lioness. The firstborn was a lioness. I nearly lost my life while giving birth to her. I was on oxygen for like 7 days.
Really?
After giving birth to her. She weighed 5 kilograms. My blood pressure was high, and so that's how I snapped. I had a lot of water in my lungs. The second one, Ariel. Ariel is still the beloved of God. The beloved of God. I also went through some things, and I prayed about them. My last born is Asahel. Asahel is more of a quick fast. He came very quickly. Yeah, Asahel is also in the Bible. So it's been because of situations and my prayers to God.
Yes.
And
him answering.
yes, and the third one came after 2 failed attempts, actually 2 miscarriages at 5 months and 6 months. And so I'd given up hope. And even when he came at 7 months. He was a premature. And so it was, so out of prayer, out of believing God, the waiting season, That's
that
how
is
those names came about.
okay. I can see. That's very good. At least you have something to, at least to refer back to.
Yes.
When you call their names, you see the hand of God
Exactly.
reflected in each and every name, so you don't forget what God has led you through.
It's a testimony.
It's a testimony. That is very good. And I would like to ask, apart from, okay, you've been married 7 years to Sabiti, and what do you do?
I'm a broadcaster, just like my
Okay.
husband. Yes, and
Okay.
we've been in this broadcasting business as workers also for the past 20 or so years, and then into partnership and ownership. For the past 10 or so years. Yeah, so it's been an amazing journey. Apart from that, I'm a mentor. I don't like calling myself a coach or a counselor, but I'm a people helper, a people developer.
Okay, people developer.
People developer.
I love that word.
People gain clarity and strategy and confidence about who God has called them to be, and to be able to contribute to the world the best way possible, to be able to monetize that and create a business out of it. Yeah, so that's what I do. I do marriage therapy, but again, that has been the core of my existence for the past 15 years. I've been doing marriage.
Married for
Yes.
the past 15 years. Now, when you bring it in, you're a people developer and you've been doing marriage. I'm glad to have you on set because you're going to be doing marriage tonight. And in one way or another, you're going to be developing people. So tonight we're dealing with a bad marriage is a choice. And when I mention something like that, it can trigger a lot of people. They can be like, no way, who do you think you are? And all this, it just happened to me. I never planned for it. I'm a victim in this whole thing. I never planned for this. I would like to understand, you've been married 7 years, happily married, and you're making it. You've dealt with marriages before you even got married. And you've been helping couples in all of this. Now, when we talk about a bad marriage being a choice, I would like to find out, you've been married for 7 years and you're happily married. Why do you believe a bad marriage is a choice?
Now, I'll go back to be doing marriage before I even got married,
Thank you.
because then that's where the root is.
Yes.
And me coming from a very shattered background when it comes to marriage, I think the examples that
A
I
shattered
saw around,
background
shattered when it comes to marriage.
Really?
It was a broken home that I grew up in for the longest time.
Okay.
It was a home. I have a mantra that I usually tell people, that I have known how to live while sinking, how to live while surviving, and how to live while thriving.
How to live while sinking
Sinking, surviving, and
and
thriving.
thriving.
Yes. And because of that, it has given me a lot of experience that
Can you break it down for our audience? What exactly do you mean?
now, when you talk about sinking, we all know a person that is sinking.
Yeah.
You literally are in a place where you have no control over anything,
That's it.
where you're drowning. You're
Yeah.
fighting, you're gasping for life, whether in finances, whether in relationships, whether in a home.
But you've managed to leave.
Yeah, you're living, but you're narrowly living. Anytime,
Yes.
anything can
Yes.
happen. And then you fight your way out of that. God
Yes.
enables you to fight your way out of that. You
Yes.
get into the survival mode.
Okay.
The survival mode is, I think I can have a meal, but I don't know whether I'm going to get the next meal.
Yes.
I think we have a home, but I don't know whether we're going to have a home next.
Yes.
So that's a life of uncertainty. That's a
Yes.
life that is so stressful. And when it comes to thriving, you also work yourself toward out of that. And that is why we say everything we do is a choice. Now, marriage is
Okay.
not anything else other than it's a choice.
Okay.
You either fight your way through that, and God enables you. You know, when God gives you a hand, you must also, He does not give a hand to a dead thing and say, you know what, let me just
Yeah.
bring you back into life. You
Yeah.
must want to live. You must want to breathe, you know,
Yes.
to thrive. And so when you get to the thriving end, that is, you're a bit at peace. You know, you're
Yes.
not stressed. You're looking at life, where I am in my marriage, with my children, with my business, with
Yes.
everything that I am, is a thriving and a flourishing phase
Okay.
that I have dug a foundation for, from sinking, from surviving, and into thriving. But how I began with the marriage thing, and which brings us to the decision, to making it a
Yes.
decision, is when I was brought up in a shattered home, quite narcissistic. The things that I saw, I swore I would never get married.
That was your first vow.
That was my first vow. I don't know to who, maybe to God and to myself. I swore I would never.
get
And I will tell you for a fact that every person that came in contact with me in that phase of my life saw the wrath of a girl that thought she'd never wanted marriage. I would not give anyone a minute of my day. I would not even listen. Like, everything was, as in, what are you talking about? It does not even make sense. I don't even have time for that, and stuff like that. And I think people that met me back then, when they see this me, I think they're like, what changed?
Yeah, what happened to her?
What happened? But I remember one time my mother held my hands and told me, I will never agree with you or accept the fact that you say you'll never get married. I'm praying that God will bring someone into your life, someone that will change the narrative of marriage, of friendship, of loyalty, of commitment, someone that will change the narrative of acceptance to you, that you will not be in a marriage that I was in for the longest time, but you will live a totally different. And I said amen. And I believed in that amen when I said it. Yeah. Remember, I didn't believe in the marriage, but when she holds my hands to pray, I say amen with a lot of belief and with a lot of, thinking it's actually possible. So now I start on a journey of possibility.
Okay.
I start on a journey of possibility, the creative power of desire, of words, and of thoughts aligned, that this is what I want to be. Up to the time that Tim came into my life, that was a season where I'd opened up my believing. And so the friendship begins. And now that, we've gone through that, the journey has been long, so many hurdles in the way.
Yes.
At some point, Tim's mother said, you choose between me and her. We were supposed to get married so many years before the time that we got married.
I know what that means.
He garners the strength to go and tell his parents, you know, we've agreed, he has proposed. And so he goes to tell his parents, and his parents say, choose between you and her. And so now we have to go into another more than 6 years
Of trying to build some concession.
of nothing, of me saying I'm throwing myself into purpose, on him saying I'm not giving up on you.
Wow, 6 years.
6 years. And like, it's unbelievable. And at the end of 6 years, he makes up his mind. And the first answer from me was a no. No, I can't hear anything of it. I don't want anything to do with that. And so after praying and after asking God, what's the direction of my life?
Yes.
I feel you've called me to more. And I know that very few men can be able to handle the kind of woman, the
That
magnitude
you've
of calling that you have placed
Yes.
upon me. Tim has been a friend for all these years.
Yes.
And he has never betrayed me. He, even when he called off the wedding and all that, as in, he was confused. He wanted to get a hold of my family. This is who I love. What do I do in that mix and all that? And so after some time, I made a choice, and I said, you know what, I'm giving my best friend a chance to actually
Yes.
create a life together. Now, it doesn't mean that even knowing him for the 24 years, it means everything is rosy. It's
That's
a bed
true.
of roses. No, it means he's human and I'm human.
Okay.
He has flaws, I have flaws.
Yes.
I have weaknesses, he has weaknesses.
Yes.
But we are each other's strength.
I hear you.
Where there is acceptance, if the pillars are right. Now, the
And the
problem
structure.
is where most people don't feel like a bad marriage is a choice or a good marriage is, because if a bad marriage is a choice,
Even
a good marriage is a choice. Now, where most people don't believe in that statement is the foundations are shaky.
Yes.
It's not a foundation of friendship. It's not a foundation of respect. It's not a foundation of loyalty,
Yeah.
of commitment and total acceptance.
Yeah.
And it's not a foundation, a godly foundation.
You're right.
Now, when it comes to the shaking, then you feel like, you know what, everything is shaking on itself and I'm not taking responsibility of that. So it's not a choice. I didn't choose this.
Okay. Everything is shaking on itself.
On its own, or the other person is shaking together with his thing,
his thing.
or with her
This
thing.
is none of my business.
This is none of my business. What I wanted was the good, but when it comes with the bad, then I want none.
Then that's not my responsibility. I'm not part of that.
No, I don't want to fix, I want to enjoy. But marriage cannot be lived like that.
I don't want to fix.
I want to enjoy. Yes. But again, you can't enjoy what you have not fixed.
What you've not fixed.
And what you're
that
not
is
willing
very
to
true.
fix.
That is very true.
So that means we are walking mechanics in marriages.
I love that.
Walking mechanics. That every time you put on your overall, you dive down into a marriage and you're like,
Begin
what's not
fixing.
working? Is
Yeah,
it the
what's not
communication?
working?
Is it what? Is it the sexual part?
Yeah.
What, is it the children? Is it
Yes.
what's not working?
Yes.
That's a person who loves what they have and they're not willing to just throw it away because
Yeah.
of a shaking, because of a weakness, because of something that has happened. They said, you know what, I'll be with you for the rest of my life. And this is a commitment I'm making. And I'm not going to break a commitment because of an emotion that is existing right now.
At this moment, in the heat of the moment,
Yes.
I am making a commitment that I'm going to be with you for the rest of my life. And down the road, when things get heated up,
I should stick in
I should stick 'em.
and fight in the ring, not
In the
outside of
ring.
the ring.
I stay in the ring, no matter how bloody it gets.
And I should know the rules of engagement and fight fair.
Fight fair.
I don't hit below the belt.
Yes, man. I gotta stay in.
I have to stay in and I have to fight a fair fight.
I love
Because
that.
there is staying in the ring, but fighting a wrong fight.
A wrong fight.
Giving yourself your own rules.
Yes.
Just imagine someone...
breaking away from the rules of
Someone
engagement.
is labeling you and calling you names in the heat of the moment. And then
Yes.
after you're out of that anger, then this person, that is a label that they take in for the rest of their lives. And they feel, I mean, people have talked to, I've had couples, I mean, I've dealt with couples for so long, but someone gets to a point, a lady gets to a point of saying, the man, but you're not even strong in bed. I don't know whether you've seen such couples.
I've heard, I've seen
In the
them,
heat of the
I've
moment.
counseled them.
And what effect does it have on a man? Is it
Very
a temporary effect?
Very deadly.
It's not a temporary effect.
Yeah.
It's a permanent effect. You hit below the belt. You said something that you can never undo.
That's true.
For the rest
And usually the women will say that in a way to cause pain, because it seems like the more pain I have, then the more I want to make.
Exactly, exactly.
The more pain I want to make.
You want to inflict it.
I
You want to rub it in.
Say, how can I really make it?
But you
Take
don't
it
know
deep.
that you're not just inflicting pain, but you're causing damage.
You're causing damage.
And damage is going to stay.
This person may never be able to come up again.
Never. They will have performance anxiety. Whenever they look at you will stop looking attractive to them. They'll start second guessing themselves for the rest of their lives. Even when you start kissing and you start and you patch up and make up things, they will never feel the same again.
Only God can save that situation.
How does a man begin telling a lady, you have a bad color. Me, I wanted brown ladies, but you're dark-skinned. And then you have long breasts. I have heard things. A woman is 2 months postpartum, not actually 2 weeks postpartum, and you're saying all how her body is how disorganized and stuff like that, and you feel you made a loss, and then after that you want hitting below the belt. And that's a choice, because you can regulate your mind.
Thank you.
You can think something and not say it, because we're not going to beat you for thinking it.
You're so right. You think it and not say it. So the whole thing now is about the mind. What you let in and then you let out. You have to think and you have to plan, you have to reason. In other words, you think before you speak. If I release this word, how is it going to affect? What's the damage? What's the building? How is this going to go up when I release these words?
But do we have the patience to create time between thinking and speaking? Between thinking and doing, because that is delayed gratification.
That's true.
Because in the moment you want to box. But the moment you say, okay, what are the implications of me boxing? That means you are delaying your gratification to process. And after processing, then you're going to come up with a lot of clarity of what my next move should be. So if the Bible talks about the foolish woman and says that she tears her own home with her own hands. Hands cannot tear before the mind tears.
Before the mind tears.
So that means your thoughts tore this marriage apart before your hands tore, before your mouth tore.
That is very good. So it begins with the mind. And the same Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. So what you allow to go through your mind is what actually begins to build up the destruction of your marriage, or the development of your marriage. What you process in your mind, what you nurse in your mind, is what is going to be produced in your words, and then finally in your marriage.
Sometimes it's subconscious.
In your subconscious.
Sometimes it's subconscious, and the subconscious is so strong because it brings vivid results. Because by the time the thoughts come into the conscious mind, then you have control.
Yes.
At the subconscious level, you are thinking through and through and through, and that is where resentment builds. So when resentment starts building, love goes down.
Now it's all about me.
Now it's all about me. I don't want this and I don't want that. You
unfairly.
did like this to me. You did like this. Now, the moment you keep turning those and rehearsing them and thinking about them, when you look at instead of genuinely smiling like a child, have you ever seen a woman that smiles and it feels like it's a baby smiling? Like it feels like they're in bliss, like the bliss. It feels like I have no worry. But that's a choice.
It's a choice.
Otherwise, we are pressed from every side, but not consumed.
Not consumed. Not crushed. And what you're saying, that's the choice that we really... Now, you see, you've said that the subconscious mind is able to begin processing this stuff, allowing in certain mindsets, allowing in certain thinking or thought patterns, cementing them. I was hurt. I was mistreated. This could not be you to do this to me. This was unfair. And then somebody's going to tell you, you know what? How do I deal with that? Because it just happens. There's no choice. Somebody's telling you, this is not my choice. It just happened to me. I'm just there. In other words, to them, they believe whatever is going on is not part of them doing anything about it. Stuff happens to them. They have no choice.
Which is so wrong. That means
gotta say that again.
It's so wrong. You're going to flush your life down the drain with that kind of mindset.
You mean everything comes to an end?
Everything.
But it's just happening to me. I'm.
It's okay. Let it happen to you while the years are happening to you as well. Because you're not you're not growing any younger. And at some point, we must all grow up.
I love what you're saying.
And it had better now. Don't wait for tomorrow.
Now.
Because it's better to avoid the regret. Because the years are rotating. They are going.
And you're busy saying stuff is just happening.
And you're saying stuff is happening to me. You know, they should have, that is a sense of entitlement. Like someone should have done this and someone should have done that. Why don't you take your life back and be in charge and say, I want to control the trajectory of this marriage. I cannot control another person, but I can try and do my part.
I cannot control another person, but I can do my part and make a decision to say, this is how my life is going to go. And I'll be right back. In a minute, I'm still with Bahati, that a bad marriage is a choice. And that means a good marriage is a choice.
Unlocking marital bliss. Unlocking marital bliss.
All right, we are back, and you're still watching Unlocking Marital Bliss with me, CYRUS, and I have Bahati, Hilda, Sabiti on set with me, and we're talking about our simple topic: a bad marriage is a choice. So I don't want you to begin crying. I don't want you to begin turning off that set. Please stay tuned. And Bahati, before we took a break, you had just said that you have to make a decision, or it's up to you to decide where your life is going to go. Because I just told you that in most cases, when stuff is going on, when we are rehearsing what just happened to us, and we're thinking it was so unfair, we're thinking I am the first and I am the last, you know, it kind of feels good in that moment. There's a way I kind of get a place of refuge in such a moment. And I am blaming you. You did that to me. You betrayed me. It was you. It was you. It was you. I want you to understand that this was you. So at that point, I become the victim.
No responsibility.
No responsibility. I am the victim, guys. Now, Hilda, you're trying to tell me I was betrayed, okay? I was hurt. This was not fair. And you're telling me to take responsibility? What do you mean?
Yeah, because, I mean, taking responsibility, look at it as a person that, as a surgeon.
Okay.
A person that gets sick and goes to a hospital. And if someone wanted to play victim while they were sick, they would stay home and say pity party, you know, please, you know, I'm so sick. And then they will cook for you. And then they will make a good bed for you. And then you will sleep and die.
Yeah.
But a person who takes responsibility is one who says, I will rise up and go to the hospital.
Yes.
And if they suggest a surgery, I will endure the surgery and see the chances that I have to live.
You make a decision and believe that you have chances to leave.
Why do we
That this is not the end of you, even after being a victim.
Even after being a victim, yes, you have been treated badly, and no one denies that.
Yeah.
But if you just choose and say, you know what, let me wrap up everything and just cast it away, then what does that speak of you? That you don't fight for what you want. If this is what you want, then you go into the theater. And sometimes you will not go into the theater alone. That is why we give you rules of engagement. That is why we will talk to you and say, you know what, there are things that you can do that can actually be able to bring someone's heart back into this marriage. There are things that you can do. There's prayer. There's you loving on yourself. There's you finding purpose. There is nothing. One thing I've found out, there is nothing that rectifies a marriage like finding purpose.
That's very important. That is very important.
Because you cease to be the one that is seeking for a pity party, and you take charge of your life. When you take charge of your life, you become so sexy, you become so attractive, you have a vision, you're working towards something. You're not waiting around for someone to tell you, I love you. You want to tell someone you love them.
Thank you.
You want to dress well, you want to smell well, you want to impact people's lives.
Look at this, Bahati. Thank you for bringing it that way, because most of the women, once somebody has hurt them or anything, a woman who was so beautiful,
Give up.
they give up. They no longer take care of themselves.
Nothing from brushing to nothing. No cologne, no hair. Everything is a bad day.
Everything becomes a bad day for them.
That means that relationship or whoever hurt them defined them and is still defining their lives. That means
You're going to say that again looking in that camera.
Tell those women looking in that
I know. Just imagine someone hurt you.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you ditch your life. So that means they defined you when you were with them. Or when you are with them, you are still with, but they defined you. Now, when they did something bad to you, they are still defining you because you're making choices based on what happened.
They did to you.
And yet, for you to heal, for any marriage to get into a good place, you have to get to a place and say, okay, enough is enough. There has to be another dimension.
Yes.
There has to be another realm. There has to be something more to me than just Nakamate and Nachigude and Hilda.
That's it.
There has to be something better.
That's it.
So can I be able to find myself? Can I be able to be self-aware? Can I find my identity? And lock it in Christ, lock it in
Amen.
God, lock it in who He has called me to be, find my self-worth, my confidence, my self-esteem. What are the strategies that I should be looking at? And do I have clarity of why I am on earth?
That is very important. You know, you've mentioned that, and the question comes in, you find your identity, lock it in Christ. You find it in Christ, lock it in Christ. Without Christ, you're going to be struggling. You won't be able to come out. And you've mentioned that after somebody has done this to me, because remember, we've been saying, but this stuff is just happening to me. I didn't make a choice for this stuff to happen to me. Now you want me to make a choice to get the good stuff? Somebody's got to make a choice for me.
And I mean, who is going to make that choice for you? We are all busy making our own choices.
Oh, man.
We are all, I mean, you will sleep in the same bed and someone will wake up in the middle of the night to chase after their own purpose and make their own choices.
And you make your own choice.
Your own choices. No one is going to make a choice. Even when love is so good and is so powerful and it has brought you together,
you still have to make a choice.
you have to still to make a choice to grow, to be better.
Look at this. Even no matter how much God loved the world, He still left us to make a choice.
Exactly.
He said, okay, I've paid the price, everything.
He should have said, I have wiped out all the other gods and I'm the only God. He would have made himself a dictator.
Yeah.
But he said, I mean, the devil exists. I'm here. Choose what you want.
Choose what you want.
Yeah. Life and death. Choose what you want.
Choose what you want.
So if you want life, you work hard for it. And you know, when it comes to the things that grow us and the things that make us better, they're like, I usually liken them to an apple.
Okay.
that if you want to grow an apple in Uganda, I think it's only in Kabale, and it will come like a guava.
Yeah.
But Cape Town, we get most of our apples from Cape
Cape
Town.
Town.
And some of them from Kenya, but
Yeah.
few. Cape Town. That means that apples want a particular kind of soil.
Yes.
But look at a weed on top of a house, on a balcony, in the middle of the road.
It
Like
will
it
grow
does not
anywhere.
look. So those things that says that, oh, it happened to me, you're a weed.
You're a weed. You better listen to that. You're a weed. It just happened to me. It's none of my business.
So what should we do? Should we clap for you? Do you want to dance with that tune?
Join me in my party, my pity party over
I
here.
am not, because some of us have woken up from our deep slumber and no one is taking us
You
to
say
slumber.
you
Grew up in a dysfunctional family, broken down, but you have a great marriage. You're moving
Very
on.
thriving, very happy.
Very happy. Guys, you got to get this in. No matter what happened to you, your background, because most people now blame the background, blame the past for where I am, the way I was brought out. You know, my mother raised me as a single woman, and she used to sell pancakes, and, you know, I cannot give up on my mother. You know, Hilda, you better
Yep.
keep walking. I can't walk away from my mama. My mama is my everything. My mama is always been there.
Even when you break that shackle, get into a marriage, you self-sabotage.
you self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Can you explain?
Because the example, the perfect example that you've given, growing up with a single mother, and definitely growing up with a lot of luck.
Yeah.
There's something that is in common, and I know that most of the viewers will actually agree with me.
Yeah.
We tend to want to protect ourselves so much. We tend to grow with masculine energy, with people that have been brought up by single mothers.
Yeah.
We feel like we can do it, we can take care of ourselves, we are in charge, and we don't want any man to call any shots. Okay, even when it comes to finances, we are the kind that want to secure our future. We want to be in control of our finances.
Yeah.
That means that the temptation for so many women not to even be transparent and forthcoming with their finances is very high, because then they're pessimistic and very, very cynical, because every time they're looking out, something could be happening. I don't want to fall in the dish that my mother was into the sinking mode and the survival mode. I've tested a bit of thriving, so I want to thrive at every cost. So it can cost me my marriage.
Because I'm trying to thrive.
Because I'm trying to thrive. But again, what is success? If that is success, that has no marriage in it, has no children in it,
You know,
has no relationships
there's
around
no
you.
relationship.
You know,
Healthy
what is
relate-
that is not success.
It's not.
Success is a full package.
That's true.
You have to be healthy in body.
That's
You
true.
have to be healthy spiritually.
Yes.
You have to be healthy in relationships. You have to thrive at all angles. Otherwise,
That's
if you
true.
say, I am success, that is not success.
That is not success.
No, that's poverty.
That's poverty. That's very true, because you're absolutely in want, especially when you're failing at relating, the way you deal with others.
It becomes a problem. It's a backbone for everything.
It's a backbone for everything.
And
Relation.
one of the things that God was revealing to me of recent is some people, some relationships, yes, we must be able to reposition, but some relationships are doorways into the realms that God wants us to walk into.
Yeah.
So now if we are in the pity parties, this is how the pity party starts. Because if you're to live an average life starts very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So you begin having entondo, I don't know how they are called.
Yeah, you begin sulking.
So you begin sulking, even before the actual relationship or the actual marriage. So
You
already have
enjoying your
issues.
sulking.
Yeah, you're so picky. You're so, they did this to me.
So
Even
you're
at
full
work.
of fear.
Even at work.
Yeah.
They don't like me. I might as well resign. So you start that kind of life and you withdraw from everything that would have built you. So even when you get into a marriage, you cannot fail at relationships or friendships, and then you think that you're going to thrive at
In
marriage.
Because this same nonsense is what you're driving into this side. And this is what actually cements what we've been saying, that a bad marriage is a choice. So it's not something just happening to you. If we can take serious examination, serious examining of our own lives, and say, I think I'm being self-centered here.
Yes.
Do you know some people don't want to be told that?
I know, but again, maturity When you get to a certain age, I think you start the introspection and just looking into your life and finding out, okay, I have failed myself in so many ways. I better start growing up in those areas. I remember back then when we were still dating with Tim, he used to have this thing. I used to tell him, whenever I got annoyed, I would tell him, "Kola byange nawe kola bibyo." Like I would just tell him off. Because I felt I wanted to be in charge of my life, and I didn't want anyone to call the shots. I didn't want anyone to do anything. And then he looked at me. He used to look at me and tell me, "Tukola byaba."
And you didn't want to hear that.
And I didn't want to hear that. But again, with him.
But look at the way God brought him in your life to really grow.
And he knew my background to the extent my first phone to hold in life. Tim gave it to me, and not because just, I love you, so I'm giving it to you, not as a love gift, but as a protection gift. Because he knew I was going back home and there was a battle at home. And he knew that anytime I will need to call help, I should be able to call him and tell him I need help, even in the middle of the night. So I took.
As somebody who loves you, he was protecting you.
To protect me, even from my own family.
My goodness.
Because he knew I was the firstborn. Everyone was counting on me. He gave one of the evenings, he just bought a Motorola phone with those that had, the areas. And I was like, you know what? Go with this. Have it close to
That
you.
thing was classy then.
I know it was, and it was yes. So stay with it. Let it be close to you at all times. In case you read any kind of danger, call me. I'll find a way of getting to you.
Wow.
And that should have been more than 20 years ago.
My goodness.
But you see, the reason as to why I can talk about a thriving marriage right now is because I have chosen daily to look past everything that could have caused me to tear it down, to choose every day to think the best of myself and to think the best of my partner. And he has gone out of his way, because this is a two-way traffic.
To do the same.
Yeah, to do the same.
Yes.
Yes, we can tell you, make the choice, make the choice, make the choice. The other person also has to make a choice. But when you make a choice, and that's why I usually tell people that when someone tells me, oh, my husband doesn't want to come for therapy, I'm like, come to therapy alone.
Yeah.
You don't have to stay back.
It may have to start with you.
Yeah, it may have to start with you, the decisions that you make.
Yes.
So when you make those decisions, and believe me, this is what has happened. Most of the ladies, when they come to me, because most of the ladies are the first to come out to talk about their issues.
About what they're going
this
through.
is what happens. The husbands get to know where she went. They come in hiding behind her back. And then they make me swear, never tell my wife I was here.
Wow.
But because the wife came alone and we strategized on what to change, what to do better, and how to take away the bitterness and the resentment, how it's not serving, how is it helping? We are doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results.
Insanity.
Yeah, that's insanity.
Yeah.
So when they change their minds and they change their behaviors and they change the husband is like, okay, now I think I'm the one with the problem. And now they bring themselves in for therapy. And they don't want me to tell their ladies. So they want to go back and just behave like everything is normal. I have changed and now we're having a good marriage.
In other words, so now it's the pride in me that is saying, I really never listened to you.
Exactly. But I changed on my own.
I changed on my own.
I'm the man.
I'm the man. Man, now.
But again, I'm happy because
that at least you
by
got
the time they can come for help, that makes me happy.
Like
I don't mind who takes the credit. I don't mind. I don't want the credit.
That's true.
I don't want the credit. I'm only a servant.
Yeah. As long as the marriage can be restored,
that's my happiness.
That's it. And this is so good because the challenge we have now for many men to simply say, I actually followed your instruction. That is safe that you're being less of a man.
Yeah.
Simply because you showed me this is dangerous. Honey, do not go that direction. And I obeyed you. It doesn't make me less of a man.
Actually, it cements us as a team.
Very much. In fact, it proves it actually stirs up more of the friendship that we share.
Exactly. We lean more into each other.
We lean more into each other. This is something men need to know, that when you listen to your wife, just like at the beginning in the Garden of Eden, God say, because you listen to your wife, now some men take that and they close the doors and they say, hey, it's written, I will never listen to you. No, but the reality is that if she's saying something contradictory to what God has already said, that's when you just still sit back and say, look over here. We're not going to go like this. This is how stuff is going to happen based on what the Word of God is telling us. And it's going to be helpful to all of us. So you never stop listening to one another. Because the more you listen to God, the easier it becomes to listen to one another. So our challenge is usually we don't want to listen to God, but we want our wives to listen to us.
Yeah.
I'm the man. I'm the man. You got to listen to me. So now when you bring this out and we say, we listen to one another, we're bending towards each other, we are building a stronger bond than you've ever imagined, the way God ordained it. Even when you hurt me, we do not cover it. I'm able to come and talk and ask for forgiveness because I have made a choice that this marriage has to work and it's got to be a great marriage. Not so it means when I fall back in bitterness, in this anger, and I just shut down, that means I've actually made a choice
Not to build.
not to build a marriage. I've made a choice for it to crumble. I've made a choice. So tonight we are not allowing any victim mentality. We are taking no hostages. No sinking marriages. No only thriving marriages. No sinking, no surviving, but only thriving marriages.
Yeah, we choose the third level.
Let's choose the third level. Let's choose the third level. And you've talked about the mind. Now you talked about the subconsciousness. So you're talking about the mind. Stuff is playing in there. And then resentment is brewing in there. I was treated unfairly. I was treated unfairly. You promised you'd be there. You were not there. You promised and you have broken your promise. So I'm just wallowing in over there. So now, how do I begin overcoming this subconscious, this negative subconsciousness that is building up in me? How do I begin overcoming this?
Now, the thought process and how the mind works is it mumbles up and jumbles up things. It never thinks in clear portions.
Okay.
So now, when we start on the wheel of the subconscious mind, feeding it with everything that has happened and all the junk, now it doesn't stop. It just goes on and it attracts more negativity. Yeah. So you start being a police. You're looking for all the bad things that are happening.
Fault finder.
Now, in order for you to be able to rectify this situation, you have to go back to being able to compartmentalize and being able to understand where the problem is. The mechanic, when you take them and all the wires are jumbled up together, the first thing they want to know the flow of the car, which wire is going where, and what is feeding what. Is it an electrical problem? Is it an engine problem? Is it what is the problem exactly? Because when resentment is brewing, chances are there is a repeated pattern of things, and sometimes there are not so many that are happening. You told someone that don't do this because it makes me feel bad, but they have gone ahead to keep on doing it. Sometimes people don't like being controlled, and maybe someone has been a control freak, not in a loving way, but in a way that shows you, I own you, and so I must be able to subdue you, and you are a rug, and you have no say. And people don't like to be treated like that. It's animals that were supposed to be dominated like that, not human beings.
Not human beings.
We were supposed to love one another and to live in harmony as equals. So when something happens like that, the resentment starts brewing. So now when you start pointing fingers and say, okay, this is the problem, and this is the problem, and this is the problem,
Yeah.
Now, do you see that now you have a better language to even talk about them and address them?
Because you've identified.
You've identified where the
problem.
loopholes, where the problems are.
Yes.
If the issue is financial, can we talk about
Yes.
the financial? And what is the financial? Because financial is big. Is it that you don't feel secure? Because some women don't feel secure.
Yeah.
The reason as to why we even get married and we want the protection from a man is feeling secure, and not
Yeah.
just financially, but even physically.
Generally.
Generally, we want to feel secure. But there are some women, according to how the husband is spending, they don't feel secure.
Yeah,
They talk
okay.
about building, they're not willing. They talk about paying school fees in advance, they buy insurance, they are not willing. So the woman's heart is in suspense because she
Yeah.
has fear of uncertainty and what could happen
What could
anytime.
happen anytime.
And then you want her to flip in bed. You
Not with all this fear
not
involved.
with all this fear. When she looks at you, she feels, I am not safe.
I'm not
And
safe.
her body
My
will
kids are
exude
not
that.
safe.
Her
That's
body,
very true.
it will never release. It will never
That's true.
surrender.
Yeah.
You want a surrendered woman, as in come to the table and talk. Be
And talk.
vulnerable.
Be vulnerable. That's the word. Be vulnerable.
So you realize after you have sorted them out, then most of the people have to get to a place of being confident.
Yes.
We lack confidence in marriage. You feel like someone did you a favor to marry you, so you cannot even bring up anything because you feel if you talk about it, you'll be rocking the boat.
That fear.
Rock the boat. For every prevailing marriage and every blissful marriage, at some
Yeah.
point the boat was rocked.
It had to be wrong.
But when it is rocked, that is
Yes.
when you understand that we both want to hold on to this
That's
marriage.
true. That's true.
That gives you a new redefinition of what that marriage
Yes.
is. And it gives you closeness. And the next time the boat rocks, you will hold on even
will
tighter.
hold on. Yeah, that's it.
So if you want everything to, like the boat to just float, it will go anywhere
will
because
go
there is no
anywhere.
engine, there is no
That's
power,
it.
it is not powered. So
Yeah.
power that engine with confidence and
Yes.
start talking respectfully and politely,
Yes.
start talking about the issues that are not going well.
Bring forth vulnerability.
Yeah, and put
to
them
the
in
table.
mind and ask them what's not going well with you.
Yes.
Be open, tell me.
That's the vulnerability.
That's the vulnerability. I'm willing to correct anything that is not right, but I will not be able to correct it if I don't know.
Of course. And that's a problem with most women. You expect men
To know,
to know,
to be mind readers.
to be mind readers.
That's why the
without
silent
telling
treatment
them.
happens.
Silent
you
treatment
keep
goes
quiet. You're
in.
not telling him what happened, and they're trying to relive their 24 hours.
What happened?
What did I do wrong? What did I say? And it's something. Maybe they laughed at something in the passing,
And,
and they thought it was a joke, and you took it so seriously. So there are people who live in constant state of offense in marriages.
Oh my God. That's so deadly.
It's a task. It's like it's an uphill task.
State of constant offense. That's a lot of bitterness. That's a lot of fear. That's a lot of insecurity. There's no love.
There's no love.
There's no love.
There's no happiness. Like everything good flies out of the window. The moment that comes, you take
Yeah.
offense about everything. You should get
Yes.
to a point where someone does something that would have been offending, and you look at them and laugh, and you're like, "We wange." Like,
wange,
yeah,
that's it.
we are in this
You're
for
right,
life.
For life.
And
yeah.
so I'm not going to start picking offenses, being a magnet to every small offense.
And I can bring in, and when you become a magnet to every small offense, you can't bring in anything good in the marriage. It will only be these bitterness.
It will overflow. It will be shaken together, pressed down and overflowing. And so if you choose to have the right mindset and the right attitude,
Yes.
by the way, even in the face of storms, and you can talk about the worst storm in a marriage.
Yeah.
People have asked me about, what if it's about cheating? Let me tell you, everything is a choice. And the
Thank
people that
you.
have decided to make their marriages work after cheating, it has been a choice.
Choice.
Look in that camera as we wind up, and please say that even concerning cheating. You see, in these counseling sessions, and generally, people believe cheating, that's the deal breaker. I can't take it anymore.
But are you talking for yourself, or are you talking for other Joneses and other people's mindsets?
Actually, I think you're reflecting other people's mindsets.
That's exactly. Why should you take their mindsets? Decide for yourself today what you want.
Decide for yourself today what you want.
Because some of them are still in love, but they don't want to admit it that they're in love, because when they tell it to other people, they will call them stupid. Someone can cheat on you and you can still love them, and that is normal.
Yes.
Yes.
Bahati, I've heard from you your last word.
Oh.
Time flies so quick.
Time flies so quick, but I would tell you the power of your mind, your thoughts, your words, your imagination. You are the most powerful person. Create today. Just know that every thought you entertain, thoughts can come at a neck-breaking speed, so many.
Yeah.
But we choose what to dwell on.
Yeah.
Now, when you choose to dwell on something that is positive, you are building something positive. If you choose to dwell on something that is negative, you are building something negative. So rehearse. Oh, that is, I mean, you're asking for pictures. Oh, how did this happen? How did that happen? And then you patch them together and you start the continuous cycle of thinking about negative things, negative creation.
That's what you've made your marriage to be. You've had it from Hilda, and before we sign out, Hilda, you're a mentor. People would like to talk to you. People would like to reach out to you. Do you mind sharing your number?
That's all right. My number is 0757 117 117. For those that are not in Uganda, +256 757 117 117.
You've had it from Hilda, and thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, a good marriage is a choice, a bad marriage is a choice. And marriage is easy, ignorance is hard. I'll see you next time. Your main man, Cyrus, signing out. Unlocking marital bliss.